I see it all the time. People living with shoulder pain thinking it'll go away, only to find themselves unable to move their arm months later. Don't let that be you or any of your loved ones. Did you know that up to 5% of adults will experience frozen shoulder at some point in their lives? Now that might sound like a small number, but when it happens, it could completely disrupt your normal routine. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do to thaw that frozen shoulder and get back to your life. Frozen shoulder, medically known as adhesive capsulitis, is a condition where your shoulder joint becomes painfully stiff and loses its full range of motion. It happens when the capsule of connective tissue surrounding your shoulder joint becomes thick and tightened, thereby restricting motion. Think of it like a piece of fabric that's slowly shrinking around your joint, making every movement painful and restricted. Frozen shoulder is more than just shoulder pain. It is a progressive condition that can completely lock your shoulder, robbing you of movement and comfort. It's like your joint is trapped in an invisible block of ice. But most people don't even realize they're in the early stages until it's too late. Sounds scary, right? Well, the good news is that it's treatable, and you're about to learn how. Now, some people might tell you, oh, don't worry, this is self-limiting, it'll go away in a couple of years. But that's just a myth. It doesn't just go away. Even after years, many people still have stiffness and reduced mobility unless they actively work to fix it. Now, this condition typically progresses through 3 distinct stages. First comes the freezing stage, where the pain worsens over time and you start to lose your shoulder movements. This stage can last anywhere from 6 to 9 months. Then there's the frozen stage, where the pain might reduce slightly but the stiffness becomes unbearable. This stage can last up to 6 months. And finally there's the thawing stage, where you gradually start to regain motion. But without proper treatment, this stage can drag on for years. Now, frozen shoulder often starts in a subtle manner. A dull ache, especially at night, that feels like it's nothing to worry about. But soon you might find yourself unable to reach for something on a high shelf, button your shirt, or even sleep comfortably. Now, women over 40, people with diabetes or thyroid disorders, those recovering from shoulder injuries or surgery are especially at risk. Basically, if your shoulder isn't moving enough, whether it's due to an injury or a sedentary lifestyle, you're practically giving frozen shoulder a warm invitation to come and settle in. So how do you know you're dealing with frozen shoulder and not just a random ache? Here are the telltale signs. With frozen shoulder, it's not just pain. It's pain combined with a noticeable loss of shoulder movements. You'll struggle with specific actions such as rotating your arm outwards, loss of external rotation. Now, this is one of the earliest signs. You may also have difficulty reaching behind your back, and the pain often peaks at night, disrupting your sleep. If this sounds familiar, it's time to act before it gets worse. Frozen shoulder doesn't just magically go away. In fact, if left untreated, it could take years to resolve. And even then, your shoulder may never regain your original mobility. But don't lose hope. The earlier you act, the easier it is to control. Let's talk about treatment now. This would depend on what stage of the disease you are in. If you're in the early painful stage, the aim of treatment is to basically bring down inflammation. Your doctor may prescribe some anti-inflammatory drugs, or in severe cases maybe recommend a corticosteroid injection to your shoulder. By controlling inflammation early on, you can limit the buildup of scar tissue, making your recovery much smoother. Now at this stage, you don't want to be doing aggressive stretching exercises to try to regain movement, because that will only make the pain and inflammation worse. However, you should try to keep your shoulder moving with gentle stretches as tolerated, along with pendulum exercises. Now once you move on to the stiff stage, here things change. The focus now is on regaining mobility and strength. Now you can be more aggressive in your stretching exercises, aiming for progressive gains in movement. You should constantly stretch your shoulder to its limits, aiming to increase your external rotation, internal rotation, abduction, flexion. Exercises like wall walking will be helpful in regaining flexion, and you can add markings on the wall to track your progress. You can apply a hot pack or a hot water bottle to relax your stiff shoulder muscles. At this stage, it's also a good idea to start strengthening exercises, either with a resistance band or using very small weights, gradually increasing them as you progress. And in severe cases, your doctor might recommend certain procedures such as hydrodilation. That is a procedure where fluid is injected into your shoulder to stretch the capsule and help break down adhesions. Or even a procedure called manipulation under anesthesia, or MUA for short. In this procedure, as the name suggests, you're put under general anesthesia so you don't feel any pain, The doctor then forcefully moves your shoulder through its full range of motion, breaking up those adhesions and scar tissues that are keeping your shoulder locked. This procedure is not without its risks though. The forceful nature of this procedure can cause additional injuries like tears in the rotator cuff, damage to the glenoid labrum, or even fractures if your bones are already weak. But what's the best way to deal with frozen shoulder? Don't let it happen in the first place. Stay active. Even if you're recovering from an injury, gentle shoulder movements can prevent stiffness. Try to stay active with exercises like swimming or yoga to keep your joints flexible. And if you have conditions like diabetes or other risk factors, keeping them under control will go a long way. Frozen shoulder might sound scary, but with the right approach you can definitely control it. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might be struggling with shoulder pain. And don't forget to subscribe for more orthopedic related health tips. See you in the next video. Bye bye.